Something a bit new today, a round the table chat with John Hughes, first team manager, media manager Don Johnston, normally the guy behind the camera, but he's in front of the camera.
Yep.
Say hi, John. Don.
Hi, John.
Don. Just a kind of informal chat. John, obviously it's been another busy week for the club, on the back of the cup final, a midweek trip to Motherwell as well. How are the boys feeling at the moment?
Right on from the back of the cup final, one thing I have to say, I have to take my hat off to the supporters. I felt it was a fantastic atmosphere, very friendly atmosphere. My family were there, and amongst Inverness supporters, and they felt really at ease, and amongst Aberdeen fans before and after the match. So a fantastic occasion. Bitterly disappointed that we never won the football match. I had one or two chances, but Aberdeen knew they were in a game. On another day we could have been bringing the cup back to Inverness, but you just have to take it on the chin. And I had, in terms of their effort and their commitment and the way they played their football and the tactics, really pleased with the way we went about our business. And then that sort of, as I say, but disappointed to lose it. Took us into the Motherwell game, and although we got beat by 2 goals, it's very difficult after the match to say to the press that you're really pleased with the players in defeat. But having been in cup finals and seen the effort and the commitment that they put in to the cup final and playing extra time, not getting home to 12:30 on Monday morning, and getting caught in that traffic, to go down to Motherwell and put on a performance that we put on, the effort and the commitment, although we got beat 2-0, I was really pleased, disappointed with the result, but passed the ball really well, and on another day we could have went and easily won that football match. But the disappointment is we got beat, and all we're saying after the match is we need to now find a way to win. We need to dig deep to find a way to win, even if it means winning ugly. 10 games to go. Let's recharge the batteries and see if we can go and win as many as we can.
I suppose it's testament to the guys as well. I mean, how much they just carried on Wednesday night and tried to get back into the game. And even up until the last kick of the ball, they were still trying to score and look the better team. And I suppose that's kind of testament to the fitness levels as well, and their attitudes as players as well.
Yeah, and even on the back of that, I think Rich is probably another 2 games before the games come easy to him. James Vincent's probably another 2 or 3 games. They've been out for that long, and you don't just come back in and play a couple of games and train. It takes, even pre-season, when you come back injury free, you do all your fitness work. Looking back as a player, and I was saying that to Russell this morning, you're still looking for 5 or 6 games to get you really sharp and get your touch and all that stuff. So that's probably the same for these 2 guys, but for the effort and the commitment that they've been giving the team, it makes you proud to be the manager in Inverness. And then even for some of the supporters, and I understand that, but they're quite understandable. They'll say, well, when I was a kid, and even me when I was a kid or a player, you played 4 or 5 games over the weekend, and we all did that. But when you're playing at the level that we are playing in, with the pressure and the disappointment of losing a cup final, it's not just the physical fatigue, it's the mental fatigue. Now, I've not said anything. This is the first time I've spoke about that, because I didn't want to give the players an out. I wanted to keep that to myself. But the effort and the commitment, even in defeat against Motherwell, and the way we played, absolutely different class. And then what pleases me is all the work we're doing in training in terms of getting the ball down, passing it smaller, tighter areas. You're now seeing that coming on, and it was evident against Motherwell. But as I say, we need to start getting back to winning ways.
What's evident for me, when I get to see the players, pretty much straight after the game, I get to, and you never hear them moan, you never hear any excuses from them. The boys, they're really, they're really professional in that regard. Sometimes maybe a bit hard on themselves, but
definitely. We've been a little bit disappointed with the press, with the reaction of the press, some of the stuff. But what it does, it just fuels. Some of them have been very disrespectful to the club. but it just fuels us. You know, that's the fuel that we need, and we'll go again and prove a lot of people wrong. But never get away from this. Since I've come to the club, the effort and the commitment that the players have gave me and the buy-in to one or two different ideas has been exceptional. The season that we've had up until now has been very good, but we cannot put the tools away. We need to keep going. We owe it to ourselves, we owe it to each other, and we need to keep going and keep persevering and see if we can go and get that European spot. One thing I will say is we, after the cup final, we gave them Monday off. We come into train on the Tuesday, and because there's a real togetherness at the club, the players come and say, listen, we're really fatigued, not just physically but mentally. So we went for a good stiff 2-mile walk and ended up going for a coffee and a bacon roll. The press would want to jump onto this, making this a big hullabaloo. I've done it stacks of times as a player, as a manager. What you're doing is you're looking after their mental mindset. They were still in a recovery mode. And they were telling us, and as you as a manager, you have to listen to your players and listen to them, and they were still in a recovery mode. So we're saying, well, we could do them more harm than good if we went and trained. We could pick up injuries, and that's why we've done that. But as I say, anything that we seem to do out of the ordinary up here, it seems to get highlighted and get jumped up on.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people see, obviously they see the players out there playing their 90 minutes or 120 minutes as it was in the cup final, and maybe not everybody has an appreciation for the other work that goes on. They've got their training and stuff like that, but then they've got their media commitments on top of that, and
their family commitments.
Exactly.
They owe a lot to the family. If you look at David Raven, right at this moment in time, he's just a new father. I think baby will be a couple of months now.
Yeah.
And having been a father of 3, but my youngest one's been identical twins. It aged us about for 10 years, one sleeping, and I could imagine what David's going through. So, and in the day's world as well, it's not just a woman's job to look after the kids, it's a man's job to make sure that you're domesticated and you play your part. So you have to take all these things into account as well. And the thing about it is, if the players, you're doing it for the right reasons, and the players that appreciate what you're doing, then you're on a winner, because you get so much back tenfold. And as I say, it's been like that since I've come in, and a pleasure, it really is a pleasure to go and work with them. Even this morning, I was saying that we trained at Fort George, we turned up there and we just got, let's come on, we need these goals here, can we get that? That's all the first team boys that'll go and get it.
Yeah.
That is, that is something special.
Hard to find.
It's great, and they have a right good spirit and a good banter. If you seen them walking in this morning, it was
Fridays. Do you know what? Fridays is the best day in the office, because you see the players coming in with shorts on and all their horrendous fashion items that they've got.
So
Gary Warren with the pajama bottoms and the wheelie boots on.
It's the worst.
Horrendous.
I think it's described as the worst dress day, but is it the best? Or is it it's not the worst.
The best dress gets fined or something like that.
The best dress gets fined. That's it. Aye.
Now, how does that work? Because David Raven, we see they're called the bin man in the changing room. How does he dress up, or does he?
No, they all just use David's wardrobe. They all just go into David's night before he uses his wardrobe.
If it's not David's, anyway, they can't find it. They go to Ben's wardrobe.
Do you take photographs and put them
last week,
some of the outfits that they come on? And then you see them, you hear them. Our office is just around the corner for the main dressing room, and the laughs that they get. They self-police themselves, and they're a fantastic bunch. A special dressing room, I have to say that. I've said that since I've come in, and because of those reasons, they deserve success. They really do deserve success. There's a real family and spirit amongst this club. A lot of clubs I've been at have not got that. That's what makes this club special. You walk in here, you smell the togetherness, the work ethic. A lot of clubs have not got that. A lot of clubs are beyond themselves. We're really.
That's just my aftershave. So.
Yeah. I think we saw a lot of that, and it happens all the time, and it's maybe something that it's my job to make more of in terms of media stuff. But then they run up to the cup final, and and the pressure that comes with that, obviously. And the boys are still out there, and they're going out and they're visiting schools, for World Book Day, you know, and they're taking the kit around and they're showing the kit around and stuff like that, you know, and they're doing all that in their own time, you know, essentially, you know, and I think it's really fantastic, and you know, you speak to people at other clubs and whatnot, and they wish, you know, some of the clubs wish they had a group of guys like Arsenal doing stuff like that, you know, and I think, I don't know where it comes from, it just seems to be something that happens. It's not forced upon them, they just, you know, it's something they want to do.
No, you never hear any mumps and moans
No.
when you take a player out to,
No.
you know, an event. I took Richie out to the Melbourne Academy race day or Sport Relief
Yeah.
mile today. No problem at all. Turns up, does his bit. That's it.
Mhm.
Carry on.
It's up to us to put plenty, but it's part of your contract. You have to make sure that you're putting plenty back into the community. And as you say, with the cup final and what I talked about, the posters and the logos of the togetherness, I think we really got it spot on, because what I see is all the teenagers in that, the fans photo with Inverness strips on, and for me that's so important. When I was a manager at Falkirk, I used to see the Celtic and Rangers buses leaving, and I'm quite sure that is the case up in Inverness.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately, yeah.
But if we're getting to the cup final and it gives these young guys the pride to walk in to their school, to their classmates, to say, my team's in the League Cup final, my team's in the SPL, my team's, you know, in the top 6, then, you know, sometimes with their peer group, with young kids in their peer group, they just want to follow. But you were hoping that one or two of them saying, "Oh, I'm going to support my hometown club," and that's Inverness. And if that's what the cup final's done, then it's certainly played its part.
Got a game this weekend as well, Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
Next up, the games are coming thick and fast as well. A good game to look forward to, John, because Partick Thistle are still not out of the relegation kind of 11th place battle just yet, and we are kind of looking towards Europa League qualification as well. So it's quite an interesting game. Both sides have a lot to play for.
Yep, and doing the BBC radio the other day, it was Chick Young that actually says that because of the Rangers, if Rangers get to the cup final and they play somebody else wins it, Rangers, because of the problems they've had over the last few years and maybe an extra place in Europe, so it's all to play for. And as you say, the bottom half of the league, they're all fighting for their lives to try and, you know, some of them getting that top 6 or stay out the playoffs. And at Partick, a team that for me they've recruited very well in the window. They've got good players, possibly in a false position, but that comes with confidence and momentum. And they should have beat us the last time, if I'm totally honest. They should have beat us down at Partick. We got lucky, so we're going to have to be really at it to go and pick up the 3 points. But it's about time, you know. I've said to the players, 10 games to go. I don't think we're going to win every one of them, but let's make sure that, you know, we're still at it. We're still all hands on deck. We're going to try and win a football match. What we're trying to do is, right at this moment in time, as coaches and managers, you don't just say, you try and guide them and help them. And what we're finding right at this moment in time, we're possibly at our most vulnerable, and it has been. 2 things that I've noticed since I've come to the club, we're possibly at our most vulnerable with our attacking teams.
Yeah.
We seem to leave the back door open, and we have to try and put that right and make sure, right, I'm the first line of defence, and if it's for the front and tackle for the front and go and press, or we need to start working more on that. And the second one is, when we seem to lose a goal, it seems to knock us, and we quite easily lose another goal 5-10 minutes after that. It's not all the time, but these things happen on a regular basis, so we have to sort of identify that and say to the players, listen, we're on it together. I've never found football easy, but when you lose a goal, you don't feel sorry for yourself. You stand up to it, you keep digging in there, because there's every chance that we can still go and win a football match. If we lose another one, we're going to have to score 3 goals to go and win a game, and right at this moment in time, we're not exactly scoring on a regular basis. The reason for that, you played Richie up top with Bully. We felt Bully needed a wee hand over the last few months. We played Richie up top with him against Ross County. What an absolute treat. Won us a football match. And you say, well, the same as, against a wee bit the same against Celtic. Backfired on you a little bit. Backfired on us, the same sort of formation. Backfired on us a little bit against Dundee United. In these 2 games, you're sitting in the dressing room at half time saying, well, we're out the game, really, right, so let's just go out, try and win the second half, you know, get a bit of pride back in it. So as a manager, you're sort of saying to yourself, well, if that is the case, I can't be expansive as that. I need to make sure we're staying in the game, keep it solid, and try and open up in the last half of the second half. And but that means Burry's up there on his own, you know, working a lone furrow, and you're taking his chances away from him to score goals. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place. But that's what it takes, unless you've got Superman or you can play 12 players. And you can get Richie up there helping Bully and back in defence, helping in the midfield, and you just have to get on with it. So, and that's what we sort of, you know, we've identified that. We says to the players, but 10 games to go, make sure that we're still at it for the remaining 10 games. We owe it to ourselves, owe it to the supporters, owe it to the club. And I don't know if you make a lot of money if you get into Europe, but it'd be a fantastic adventure.
Another first for the club too.
So it's something that we're looking. It's something that we've definitely got to try and do, that's for sure.
Talking about looking forward to we had the Partick, we were talking about Partick earlier in the season. We do the weekly fan zone thing where a few fans get together and talk for an hour. And we were saying that early in the season we were saying all Partick were just missing a goal scorer, you know. And they've got Taylor,
Kyle Taylor,
in the window, you know, and he seems to be doing the business for them.
Yeah.
And you know, so yeah, I mean what you said, I think
that was the first time last week he's played a 4-4-2 because he played Doolan and Taylor up there.
Yeah.
Usually plays a 3-man midfield, so you know he's now got that at his disposal. And you know, as I say, it's going to be a very, very difficult match. They're a good side, Partick, and a fantastic addition to the Scottish SPL because of the history. The Partick Thistle, they're obviously the first team in Glasgow, but fantastic history as a club, and you can only wish them well after Saturday.
One of the key things I picked up from Wednesday was the performance of Ryan Christie, and the supporters seemed to be really kind of inspired by his arrival on the scene. I know you've kind of blooded him gradually. He does look the part, doesn't he?
Yeah, he come on against Celtic. He's been training with the first team for a while now, in and out, and it's just wee bits at a time. But what it does, before, we're hoping that the other young kids see Ryan and say, if he can do it, I fancy a bit of that. That's what it does. So it knocks everyone up the pedestal. You know, they'll come up. But we put him on against Celtic, and we've seen him do. And I says to Russell when he comes, I says, "You'll like this kid. He's technically very, very good." And he done something against Celtic. He played a third man running pass. He sort of bounced it, got it back, and he slotted Richie in on the edge of the box. Richie just got caught offside, but it was the weight of the pass that was and put it in Richie's stride. And you're saying to yourself, that kid can play. So that was evident. And he says, so he says, right, well, no matter the age of the kid, if he's good enough, he goes and gets that chance. And what it does, it's great, as I say, for the rest of the other kids. It's great for the rest of the players to say, well, competition for places, no matter what age, will give the young kids a chance. And it's only a matter of time before he starts becoming a regular and scoring goals. He come on against Motherwell for the second half. Aaron just tweaked his hamstring, and instead of keeping the 3-man in midfield, he just changed it a bit. We were chasing the game a wee bit, and I felt it worked a treat. It was on for 10 minutes. He had 2 shots at goal, and he's got that in him. And I spoke to him just the other day there, just trying to say, a great word I use as a manager is a concept, and the concept is, you know why you're on a training pitch, what you're doing. You're not just out there in body and, oh, I'm just playing football, and you go away home and say another day over. The most important thing is to grasp the concept to what you're doing. Put yourself on a training pitch, but you're actually playing at Celtic Park. Pass and move, this is what, you know, use that imagination, grasp the concept, work your passing, work your touch. And I just spoke to him the other day, and that's what he needs to do. And I watched him training this morning, and he's just lit the place up. Yeah, absolutely. And he done that against Hibs the last 15 minutes. Come on, he played a pass inside the fullback. I think it was for Carroll running down the line, and he lit the place up. And I think the fans appreciate, first and foremost, one of their own, but secondly, a real talent. And I spent a couple of hours the other day with John Collins, a good friend of mine who helps takes the Scotland 19s, and I've been banging the drum to get Ryan in. And the last time he says, well, he's not quite in your first team. I looked at the Scotland 19s the other day, and I says to John, well, not every player in your under 19s are in the first team. In fact, it's not even half of them. Now Ryan's starting to push himself into the first team. I'd like to think he's going to get that call up. And then I just says to him, just when I was leaving, it's not because we're no elite, is it? And what I mean with that is everything that goes on in Scotland in terms of the academy, and it's all this, we have to be elite and we want elite and elite players, and that's where you get the best and the best against the best. Great. That doesn't mean to say because you're no elite you don't produce footballers. So I says to John, mind, he's in the first team and he's pulling up trees right at this moment in time, only going to get better, so make sure next time the 19s get called up you get them pulled in.
So it gives you another option for the weekend, I suppose. I mean,
yeah, definitely. And he plays, as I say, he's got great imagination. He can score a goal. I think he scored about 12 to 14 goals in the under 20s. So you know, we've got one or two knocks that we're hoping to just make it come Saturday. But one, no matter what age he is, that we give him that opportunity, and he's got a big future, that's for sure. If he stays injury free, keeps his feet firmly on the ground, works hard, he's got a big future. It's going to be a big year for him next year, because I feel that real hard man's pre-season, you know, will stand him in good stead. So got high hopes for him, that's for sure.
Another positive this week is the contract extension or new contract of Ross Draper as well. I'm sure you must be over the moon with getting Ross in a new deal, but it means you've pretty much got up for next season.
Absolutely delighted. It was ongoing and it was starting to become, and then we got the games were coming thick and fast, and then the cup final was coming. And to be fair, I felt it maybe just affected Drapes a little bit, and then you can see him when he signed his new deal. I thought he was probably man of the match the other night there against Motherwell.
Man of the match at the cup final.
And you're saying to yourself, good on you, Drapes. Lincoln took that burden off his shoulders and let him go and play. And the reason we want to do that, he's only 24, Drapes, big lumpy boy, 24. But we want to make him a better footballer. You know, he's got a lot of attributes that go unnoticed. You know, he gets tackles in, wins his headers, and always up and down the park. But you know, we want to make him a better footballer. Can we get more goals off him? And it's a fantastic getting him tied up. Fantastic getting all the squad tied up. And as I say, when I first come in, it's great to see that your skipper was first to go, and they all followed suit. And even if you look at the James Vincent one, you know, he was doing talking to Hibs, and Hibs were after him. So to get him tied up, you know, it just shows you that the spirit and the character and the spirit and the city and what's going on at Inverness, that he's prepared to stay here. So it's all bodes well for the future. But as you say, that's basically all the work done. Unless I can see the chairman says there anyone for one or two others.
He's next door, so maybe just pop next door now.
But even at that, you know, it's important that we have to let the fans know how the club work.
Yeah.
Money doesn't grow on trees here. And we were through there just in the office this morning trying to draw up the pre-season programme and all that stuff, and what we've got to do when we start back, how we've got to do, and what games, many games, and what game do we put on for the fans usually at home, and can we get a glamour game and all that stuff. And it's all on the agenda, and you're saying that we could do with new goals and equipment and wee bits and pieces, and we could do with this and that. And I says, oh great, but the all comes out one barrel, so what you're taking off of Peter, you have to give to Paul. It all comes out, we're no flushed with cash. And you know, so we have to do it, and that's what makes it special. When you get these players, you get them on that training pitch and you work them and you coach them and you make them better players. But never stops you asking.
Why not?
Too many anything going for one or two players.
That's about.
Well, I know when on Tuesday when we announced Ross's signing, and it was the press boys that were here and whatnot, and they were asking me, saying, well, who does that leave? You know, who's left to sign? And I'm going, oh, it's from the main squad, it's only Conor Pepper and Ben Greenlaw. And, you know, so I was like Conor Pepper and Ben Greenlaw, and I'm going, no, that's it. And they're going, and they're sitting, you can see them sitting going,
There'll be many
that's it, you know. And they're going, and they were like, wow, you know, that's quite amazing. You know, it seemed to just dawn on some of them that actually, you know, that's pretty fantastic situation for any club to be in.
No, definitely. And then the thing about it, if we can the old Brendan Rodgers one, you know, when he puts got the names in the envelope. We have to make sure we don't sit back and rest on our laurels next year. We've probably got a target on our back. Everybody's saying, well, you know, Inverness started to respect us and, you know, to get the cup final, but it's up to us to try and take it the next step, and that's it. The only way you can do that is the way you conduct yourself, the way you train, the trust, the belief that you've got in each other, and, you know, become better players individually, collectively. One thing I will say, and I'm massive on this, I've just kept the range on it in terms of the coaching, and I've come back and I've only probably, in terms of coaching, put about 40%, because they're setting their ways in it small bits at a time, you know, and if it's not broken, you don't have to fix it. But there's a lot more coaching to come in terms of rotations, overloads, and moving people in, you know, out and about, and a lot more classroom work. And I would say any of the players, you know, I would encourage them to go and do their coaching badges, because it gives you a great insight on setting up training sessions, what you require, what you're wanting out your training session, how you condition your training session for you to get your requirements. You know, in terms of us, simple, if the listeners are, the viewers are looking in, what I'm saying is, if we want to play short, sharp, quick passing, and we go 5v5 on a tight area, we'll say 2 touch below head height. So everything has to go into feet, and it encourages them to pass and move, pass and move, pass and move, and that's what you're doing. So you put all that stuff into your training, and then you see it starting to manifest itself into the game come Saturday. But nothing to get away from knowing how to win a game, even knowing how to dig it out, and that's what happened against Motherwell. You know, we were a better team, but Motherwell just had a wee bit more than us, knowing how to dig it out, knowing how to win the football match, and we need to get back to doing that.
Yeah, well, it's Friday afternoon and you've got your preparations for tomorrow to make, so I think we'll wind it up there.
Without a free plug, can I put a free plug in?
You can put a free plug in. Yeah.
Tomorrow, reduced entry as well, which I think is great. Talking about the supporters there as well. Cup final stub gets you in for adults £10, £5 concessions, and under 12s go free.
That's it.
And if you're a season ticket holder, you can bring along a friend as well, and that's a great incentive to try and get the support back along.
You're a season ticket holder, aren't you? But you've no friends.
Unfortunately, that's right.
And on that note, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much, John.
Cheers.
Cheers.